thought policing in the spiritual community. Oh man, this is something I'm very passionate about, and I've become very passionate about it more and more. I feel like I'm going to come out with separate videos about my story and my experiences in different groups and things. But the weaving of spiritual knowledge and 3D conditions, I think, is very important. And I say that because if you give somebody a very rigid belief system or advice or guidance, and their neurology is very prone to associating that with danger or getting into a slippery slope or black and white cognitive distortions, like blah, 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 so many things, right? Can be very bad and very unhealthy. And so I like to remind people about the concept of remembrance. I've made a video or 2 or 5 about oneness and remembrance and things like that. You can check out the rest of my channel for those. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I think it's hypocritical when people will, like, or groups or a guru or somebody, out there doing spiritual work, or they have a community or something. I think it's very hypocritical for them to preach love and unity and remembrance and oneness and all of that, but then turn right around and say, oh, if you don't do this to a T, or if you don't stop yourself from thinking XYZ thoughts, lack mindset, poverty mindset, whatever, then bad things are going to happen to you, essentially. It's like, what? If we're all one and if we're all of the same source, if we are all God on the inside, we can choose whatever experience we want to have in that sense. It's like, I don't have to adhere to your strict freaking, like, belief system if I am God and if I am transcendent and if everything comes back to love at the end of the day. Because here's the thing too, from my own experience, I can attest to, because like here, I'll tell you exactly. I currently experience symptoms of OCD, PTSD, and anxiety. Those are some very heavy concepts, and they have affected me in many ways. I've worked with professionals for years, all of that. And so, if anything, I think as a spiritual practitioner, looking back at my experiences and the people I've worked with and the groups that I've been exposed to, it put me in a place of more energetic dissonance and more energetic instability for them to tell me, oh, if you're not perfect, basically, if your mind isn't like perfect, if your mind isn't pristine, if you're not coaching yourself and policing yourself out of, limiting belief patterns and stuff, then you are setting yourself up, and like, you're setting yourself up for like bad things and like psychic attack. Like, that's a term that people like to throw around a lot. And by them telling me that, with the neurology that I've experienced having, it made it even worse. So it's like, if anything, it's giving the opposite effect that they want it to have. And so that's why individual intuitive development and discernment is so critical, because I had to be brave enough and strong enough to step away and to be like, hey, this is actually depleting me so bad. And I can transcend and rise above this by seeing that I am good and I am safe, not adhering to this like 110%, not policing myself constantly. It's been seen in New Age cults and like Christian, very like fundamental Christian groups as well. This concept of like, oh, you know, the enemy or the devil is fueling these thoughts in you, and you need to stop them, and you need to think this way instead. Like that just makes your system more stressed out and more in like a survival mode. And based on my own experience, I was kind of trying to get at this earlier. I can confirm that work such as like positive self-talk with a professional is extremely beneficial. And that is very, very good. And so for a while, you know, to reprogram yourself, it requires you to shift and to kind of catch yourself. But with spiritual stuff, it takes it to a whole other level. So that's what I'm talking about. There's a line where it stops being helpful. And that line is where it gets into very rigid cult territory. And I don't think that's okay at all. I'm very passionately against that. And I think it's harmful. So, to anybody who's watching, if you have somebody that you really look up to, whether it's a personal, close someone in your life or some distant guru that you watch all their videos or something, or a group that you are enrolled into a program with or something, no matter what source it is, if you are feeling like you're not good enough, if you're feeling like it's never enough, if you're feeling like you're just so like in your head and so like this is intense, and the thoughts don't stop, and I'm not doing enough to be pure, like, please pump the brakes, please. You are a being of love, and I see you, and you don't have to do that. But again, kind of there's this fear that's built around belief systems like that. So it's a whole other beast to let it go, because you think that if you do let it go, you'll be even worse off. I am here to tell you and try to give you some hope that for me personally, that was not the case. It was the opposite. I felt liberated. I felt like I could trust myself again. I felt like my divine guidance that I was receiving was ultimate truth. Because if somebody tells you that their belief system or their modality or their blah 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 is the one and only way, and you have to thought police in order to be pure, that's a cult, and that is extremely harmful and not productive, and actually the opposite of what you want to be doing for yourself. It's all about it serving you. Even in my previous experiences in cults, certain modalities would serve me for a time because it helped my nervous system feel safe, perhaps maybe because of the messaging. But what's nice is that I was able to walk away from those groups and those situations and take, people say this all the time, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And so for me, I was like, you know what? The technique itself is helpful, but the use of it, the amount, the consistency, and the rigidity behind the actions were what was bad. And so I can actually keep my field clear and keep myself aligned and grounded and centered by engaging with said modalities when I feel like it is like needed for me or it's good for me to do so. And it's way more effective that way. And so you are your best guru. We are all God. There is no hierarchy. Drives me nuts. You know what? I'm not gonna I'm not gonna get too far off into a tangent with this, okay? I'm gonna make a whole separate video about my experience. Y'all are gonna freak out because it was a lot. I have no idea. That video might be really, really long because I already started typing notes for it, and I'm like, oh, yikes, I did not realize. But anyway, what was I even saying? I was like, it drives me nuts. These people, yeah. I'm not gonna get into it right now. Hierarchy. Oh, right, hierarchy. Again, I won't get into it really, but we are all the same on the inside. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. Okay. So you don't need the thought policing. You don't need to beat yourself up to be pure, to be saved, or whatever. No, absolutely not. No. You are beautiful and you are valid and you are powerful. You are God. You do not need that crap from other people who are clearly running off of fear programming that they go out of their way to say that they're not operating out of fear and that they are so liberated and so enlightened. Like, it is the opposite. If they are acting this rigid and they're so attached to this thing that they're trying to now put onto you. Yeah. So no thought policing. It's harmful. It's not helpful. Find that line between reprogramming and thought policing, because to me they are two totally different things. Like I said, I used that example towards the beginning of this video about like transitioning from medical negative self-talk to positive self-talk with a trained licensed mental health professional. That's just one example. Really, really good. Really good. So that is my rant. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let me know what you think down in the comments if this is resonating, if you've had or you're recovering from an experience of some kind. I would love to support you. Wishing you a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.